much, Madam Toastmasters. Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters and guests. Every Thursday, I face a familiar challenge, one that both comes to fear and love. It's the challenge of standing right here before all of you and finding the courage to speak without being nervous. At first, the nervousness felt very overwhelming. It still does. The shaky hands, my heart's been racing, and I have those thoughts of, oh, I might forget everything I'm trying to say. But over time, I've learned something valuable, that nervousness isn't my enemy, it's a signal for growth. And it's become so much better that for most of the time, the only time I feel nervous is when I'm taking that short walk from the desk, from my table to the lectern. And when I start speaking, the nervousness melts away, and in its place comes joy, excitement sometimes, and courage. Coming to this club for an hour each week has been one of the best uses of my time. Why? Because every time I show up here, I leave as a better speaker than when I arrived. Every meeting strengthens my courage to speak publicly. Every feedback makes me sharper, more intentional, and even more confident as a communicator. The progress might not always be dramatic, but it's consistent. And that consistency has built a lot of confidence for me. The skills I've gained here I have used beyond this room. For example, speaking at louder volumes, which is something that was very uncomfortable and very unnatural to me. And now it's becoming very natural and something that's feeling very normal for myself. I've also learned to reduce my filler words. I've understood the effective uses of pauses and speaking with clarity. Also, I have discovered the power of gestures. How body language can make a speech come alive. A great body language can really engage the audience, and a poor one can really disconnect them. Everything I have learned has built my confidence, has helped me to build clarity in my speech, and it's made me more poised when I speak. And it came from listening to the other speakers, receiving feedback and adhering to this feedback, and also, most importantly, showing up. But I'll be honest, writing a speech isn't the easiest. It comes with its own challenge. And it's not just about trying to write words when I try to think of an experience. I'm trying to ensure that how can I get the audience within the book? How can I be creative? How can I use anecdotes and humor and also metaphors to engage the audience? And how can I conclude with thoughts and things that will linger in the audience's minds after the speech is over? But every time I go through that process of writing a speech, I always learn something new. I always learn something about that topic, about myself, and even about the audience, because I'm trying to think about them. And writing a speech, learning how to speak, and everything is, I aspire to do all that, and that keeps me consistent. But what really motivates me, what really keeps me consistent from coming here, is actually the audience, you all, my fellow Toastmasters. Because every time I speak, or every time I hear you speak, I hear your triumph, your stories, I hear your authenticity. I am reminded from your speeches that growth isn't about perfection. It's about consistency and courage. And each of you show me what is possible when you keep showing up. You take your feedback seriously, and you push through discomfort. My courage comes from you, the listeners, told for my fellow Toastmasters. From the smiles I see in the audience, from the encouraging words and the energy that I pick up when I'm talking that says, keep going, I'm listening. When I first joined Toastmasters, my goal was simple, to make public speaking natural. To feel natural when I speak. At the beginning, as like I mentioned, it was very terrifying, overwhelming. But now, that fear has become a source of joy for myself. What once was a challenge has become joy for myself, and what was once a challenge has become a weekly highlight. And what once made me tremble has made me thrive. And for the sake of living a message, if there's one message that I'm going to leave with you today is courage is in the absence of nervousness, is in the absence of fear. It's the decision to keep speaking even when you're trembling and even when your voice is shaking. Every Thursday I take that walk to the club and back into this room. Each step reminds me that the growth happens when you are outside of your comfort zone. Thank you very much.